That's why my argument is we have an industry who takes advantage of people's lack of knowledge. So the question is now, well, what is the solution? If I told you, when I tell people this all the time, most people are like, "That it can't be that," because it's just too simple and it is just too regular and common. Because most of us, we're because of how the problems that we're associated with, we're expecting that the solution is going to be this all ordeal big matter that if we do it, oh man, the world's going to change. But in reality, to relieve stress, the key to relieving stress is rhythmic breathing. I'll say that again. The key to relieving stress is rhythmic breathing. That's it. Rhythmic breathing. So now think about this. Going back to cigarettes, when a person is smoking a cigarette, what are they doing? Inhaling and exhaling rhythmically. Okay? What happens? Their frontal lobe comes right back and they come back to a state of coherence. Okay? When a person is in a yoga class, what are they doing? Practicing breathing in a rhythmic manner. If you're exercising, what do you have to do? You have to practice breathing. Okay? Now, I'm not going to say, okay, guys, when you're in a matter of feeling crazy or feeling overwhelmed, to just stop and just start breathing 4 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 4 seconds in. No, that's unrealistic. It's actually boring, in a sense. You see, God created our bodies, and He is the artist of our bodies, and so He's orchestrated ways for us to relieve the stress, not even knowing it, by doing one of the very things that we are supposed to do. Now, I'll say this: if you've ever gone to a church service, if you ever go to church and if you ever go to the church service, the order of a church service begins with praise and worship. After the praise and the worship, and everyone's singing and dancing and hollering and thanking God, then the pastor comes on and gives the message. Now, I'll say just for my examples, for me, I've been to church for many times all over out my life, and there's times where I've gone to service where I missed the first half of service of praise and worship, and I just go in and I listen to the message. And when I listen to it, okay, it's what I need to hear. Good message, walk away. And then there's times when I go to church, I get there on time, and I spend time in the praise and worship. And for some matter, when I hear that message, it's just like glowing. It's like, oh my gosh, it is what I needed to hear. I feel empowered. I feel ready to start the next day and moving on. And for a while, I'd never thought much of it. I'm pretty sure when people, if you've experienced these matters, you never really thought much of it. But there's something about the praise and the worship. This is not religious. So when you're in a church service and you're singing praises and worship, what are you doing in this case? Rhythmically breathing. Okay, so now you're preparing yourself. So think about it. When you're the one, you go to service, you spent the last 6 days overwhelmed, life is tough, kids are getting on your nerves, things have happened from left field, and you're down and you're coming to service, and at the time you begin to praise and worship. You in that time automatically remove out of that place of frustration or anxiety or detachment into a state of coherence. Whereas when your heart rate is elevated, you produce emotions of passion, of focus, and determination. And if your heart rate is low, whereas you produce acetylcholine, you find yourself having emotions of curiosity, composure, and gratification. And then whereas you just feel like, man, whatever it is that I have before me, I can get it done. That's why we can go and you can watch people when they're in the service and they're screaming and hollering and hooping and hollering, and it is in their hearts real. It's not fake, it's not an act, but it's because there is a true release of what is being when they're getting that and they're getting this message. And so what I want to say is the result of relieving stress is rhythmic breathing, but what I would say, singing praises. And in any case and in the matter, if we can get to that state of singing praises, we can come out of that state. I don't need yoga, I don't need a cigarette, I don't need anything. I just need in the matter where going back to the Most High in a regular basis. And if we do this on a regular basis, then yes, we stay in a place and stay in this place on a regular basis. We'll find that I now spend more of my time in a coherent state, focused in getting things done rather than being delayed because I'm battling and dealing with a mindset that gets me nowhere. And I also am able to help and not age my body.